Meantime, you can mail your opinions back to the Kremlin, huh?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Those Were the Days. Now, for anyone who is just jumping in on this series, I am doing All in the Family, or as I like to call it, Those Were the Days. Some of you even call it Archie Bunker. I do too. So, yes, we are doing All in the Family, Archie Bunker, Those Were the Days. I have done 2 seasons so far. So if you haven't caught up on those yet, there will be a playlist up here for you guys to hit, and that will send you back to season 1, and then you can go through all of them up until the most recent one. So yes, it's been a fun ride so far. I'm not sure if I'm going to complete all of the series because I think there's like, I don't know, 8 or 9 seasons, and yeah, it's a lot to get through. Each season beyond the first one has about 20 to 24 to maybe 26 episodes, depending on how many they bought for the season. And I don't take a mid-season break, except for this last time. It just kind of worked out that I was taking a break for one of them in around the middle. And I am also doing Avatar: The Last Airbender at the same time on Fridays. So if you guys are a Last Airbender fan, go and watch that as well. But we are starting off with Season 3, Episode 1. I do not know anything about this episode, that I can remember at least. I might start to remember as I watch it. But as of right now, I don't really remember anything of this one so much as I do know that this is Archie getting a chance to like be on the news or something. I don't know. Beyond that, it's kind of a gray area for me. I have seen all of the seasons, but again, that was a while ago. And the further we go in, the more I forget about those older episodes. So yeah, these are going to be interesting times. I do have a few favorites that I just remember all the time, but it's getting harder to remember all of them. So with that being said, let's jump in and see what's happening with Archie and the family. Here we go.
Those were the days.
And Edith is taking a nap, and everyone is reading something. And Archie is annoyed. Well,
What the hell is this, the Christian Science reading room?
yep, a little bit annoyed.
Didn't expect you so early.
Jeez, I could get jollier welcomes down at the morgue.
Wow, okay, he's back.
Gone a couple of hours. What do you want, a 21-gun salute?
Right?
I mean, would you stand up and cheer if it was me at the door?
No.
Well, that depends, meathead, on whether you was coming in or going out.
That's true, that is true.
Sometimes I wonder if this part-time cab driving is worth my while.
Okay, so last season he was cab driving, so he's continuing that.
Now what you see around town is drifters, weirdos, and prevates.
Yeah, there's those, yep, both in the city.
Out of the chair.
Back to his out of the chair, his old routine.
Pick up a fare these weekends is like trolling for sardines with a basketball net.
Folks is walking more for exercise.
Maybe.
They gotta make a choice between cabs or butter, and they're choosing butter.
On Wednesday, as the average price of gas climbs to $5, President Biden basically shrugged, admitting food and gas prices won't be coming back to earth anytime soon.
Right.
Well, they ought to try margarine. It ain't so.
Wow, thank you, Edith, thank you. You're saying the economy's going down.
Everything's expensive nowadays. It's just inflation.
Yep,
Money in this here country is sick.
Yeah, like the people who control it.
it's kind of fair.
Well, when you control some of it, I'll listen to your views. Meantime, you can mail your opinions back to the Kremlin, huh?
I thought Nixon's wage and price freeze was supposed to fix everything.
Maybe,
It's about time some politician spoke up for the little fellas.
right?
You got McGovern.
I also got a headache, meathead, and I don't need neither one of them. Lucky me, I got the book section. Come on. All boats in.
You can only read one section at a time.
True.
Meat price is up again by 8%.
Wow. Sounds familiar.
The Farm Bureau says the average cost of a meal for 10 is up 20%.
Maybe we ought to turn vegetarian. It'd be cheaper.
Well, I ain't saying that, because it ain't natural.
Right.
Man was put on this earth to eat meat.
Yep.
Who says so?
Geez, all them old Bible people, they was always eating meat. As soon as they found out eating apples was wrong.
Okay, I'll give him that.
Who the hell ever heard of sacrificing a head of lettuce? You?
Right.
What's the matter with this little piece of the paper? Oh, I see it's out of the employment section here.
Okay.
Tell me Meathead is looking for work.
Right.
Well, what are you doing? You trying to save him from reading the embarrassing parts?
I'm the one that's applying for a job. You just said yourself how tough it is to make ends meet.
Right.
A woman's place is still in her home.
Okay.
It's only 3 days a week behind the cosmetic counter at Kressler's.
Okay. That's not bad.
There is a way for a guy that lives off his wife. Did you ever hear of a gig alone?
I'm Deuce Bigelow, your man whore for this evening.
Oh, wow. Right.
When we was first married, I never sent her out to work.
Right.
Families was proud in them days.
Okay.
Yeah, and hungry.
Can't you just say yeah and stop?
Right.
Times have changed, Daddy.
Well, it's
True.
To bring you an editorial by Mr. Lyle Bennett.
Okay.
pollution, dope, or VD.
Terrible virus.
I tell you, VD.
There has been much. Well, this is an evil that we have permitted for too long.
Okay.
The state must be willing to buy back every gun in private hands.
Hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15, your AK-47.
Oh, okay.
Guns.
Far
What the hell
cheaper.
has guns got to do with VD?
Nothing.
Only by enforcing even tougher gun laws can the tide of violence and death be halted.
Not true.
Guns must go before more of them go off.
Nope, not true. We'll talk about that at the end, but it's not true.
He's a fairy like all them gun control guys.
I'm for gun control.
Tell it to her, maybe she'll get the marriage and know.
Right?
What do guns have to do with maleness?
Duke Wayne, buddy.
John Wayne.
Talking to you is like casting pearls into wine.
Okay. Not how that saying goes, but you know.
She'd have been glad to have a rod when them two burglars busted in on her last week, huh?
Okay.
How do you expect an 88-year-old woman to go around carrying a gun?
You do. There's guns that 80-year-olds can use.
This is where she saw those three men from inside her dining room and
I went, there wasn't any doubt when he saw this gun pointed right at him.
All I know is it's an American and it's my right to pack a rod.
Right?
What do you mean, bull to the Constitution?
It's in the Constitution. Yeah, there you go.
No, Archie, that's the one that says thou shalt not make any graven image.
That ain't the Constitution either.
Right.
What you says the Gettysburg Address?
No. That's the 10 Commandments.
I know it's my God-given right as an American to have a gun in the house.
Right.
Amendment 2, I'll read it to you.
I'll read nothing. I can read myself. What does it say?
Right.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Read that.
Right.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Right. Comma, comma, comma.
65% of the people murdered in the last 10 years were killed by handgun.
Okay.
Would it make you feel any better if they was pushed out of windows?
Right.
That's convoluted logic.
The kind of straight thinking I'm trying to put across here.
Find out he's talking about gun control, he's a jerk.
Okay.
How many people in this US of A would like to have guns?
Too many.
Okay.
How many people would like to have VD?
He's got a point there.
Bunker, I mean, I don't want to disturb your quiet evening at home.
Right.
Come on in, we're having a little discussion. I want to ask you something.
Okay.
What do your people think about guns?
Okay.
Well, it depends on who's holding them.
Right.
Daddy, how can you be against gun control with all the assassinations?
Okay.
I'm saying maybe Governor Wallace wouldn't have got shot if he had a rod in his mitt.
Okay.
Because the governor was there, he could have shot first.
What would he be doing walking around in a crowd with a gun?
What was the other bum doing in the crowd with the gun?
Right.
Maybe in a wheelchair for the rest of his life.
Yes, and if that human being had had a rod, then the other human being would be in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Hold it, Judy. Who's Judy over here?
Right.
Nobody ever knows Judy but me.
Well, maybe that's because you never met her.
Makes sense. You never met her.
I didn't know you'd done that, Lionel. You're dating, huh?
Right.
Oh, yeah, sure. We does all them things.
Look at her face.
Where'd you think we all came from?
Right.
You know that England has gun control. They had less than 10 handgun murders last year.
How many stabbings did they have?
England, in World War II, nearly lost.
Right.
Pull them out. Why did they nearly lose? Of course, they didn't have no guns. Of course, in my opinion, England is a fair country.
Oh, okay.
Too many of them station master guys paving the road to communism. What we need to hear more from is ordinary Joes.
Okay.
Fine. Good. We'll give him a call. Yeah, that way. Come on. What, you got cold feet?
I ain't got no...
Okay.
You do too, Archie, in bed.
Not what we're talking about, Edith. Not what we're talking about.
Don't torture me, huh?
Right.
Hey, I ain't scared of nothing.
Well, then come on. Prove it. Talk to the station manager.
Okay.
Well, no. I didn't make the call. It was my son-in-law here monkeying around.
Oh,
And,
you're scared.
I'm scared, huh? Yeah. Hello?
What are you, chicken?
You chicken? With regards to your editorial on the gun control,
Okay.
I demand equal time.
He demands equal time.
Mr. Martinez, this station is not anti-Puerto Rican.
Okay.
I would have loved to have filmed your Puerto Rican festival, but I've only got so many cameras.
Right.
No. They're not all out filming Cuban festivals and Black Panther festivals. I know you're a minority.
Right.
In this community, most people are.
Okay.
What am I? I'm an American.
Right.
All right, Italian. What do you mean, aha?
That's racist.
While you were on the phone, the gay people called again.
That's homophobic.
Put them through to Maurice. He understands.
That's homophobic.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Bunker's still waiting. The gun nut.
Right.
Susan, don't talk like that. That man is part of our audience.
Yeah.
Show the gun nut in.
Hey, you're him. The guy on the TV there.
Right. You knew you were going to talk to him.
Coffee or...
No, because I just had my lunch here.
That's an antique.
No, that's brand new.
Looks a bit rusted for brand new.
Everything's a little bit out of date, huh?
Right.
But I guess it's pretty comfortable, huh?
Oh, good catch.
Glad to fulfill our obligations to the public and to the FCC.
Right.
Well, on whose behalf do you wish to make this rebuttal?
The American people.
Rebuttal there on behalf of me.
Right.
Who? Rabbi Goldman? Oh, but we had Rabbi Levine on.
Okay.
Jewish point of view quite well.
Right.
What do you mean Rabbi Levine's not Jewish? Oh, reform doesn't count.
Oh, okay.
I just represent a whole lot of guys just like me. I mean,
Okay.
tell the public that all this stuff about gun control is garbage.
Yep.
Guns is red, white, and blue America.
Just like apple pie?
I believe in seeing two sides of the question so that you can show the other guy where he's wrong.
Okay.
You said that guns kill. Wrong. People kill.
Right, okay. So we're going that way.
Okay, so how do you propose to stop people killing people?
That's easy. You bring back the death penalty.
Okay. So, death for death.
You have Johnson step in here. There's something I want him to see before it's extinct.
I didn't mind got the job!
Okay.
I had to wrap my feet around the legs of my chair, except I forgot about it when I started to stand up.
Whoops.
Right over the boss's desk and broke his clock radio.
Oh, okay.
After dinner, I'm taking all of us down to Kelsey's bar for...
Okay.
You think I couldn't do it? But I done it. Wait a minute.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
On what?
So proud of you.
Right.
What did you do?
Yep. Saw that one coming. Mile away.
I rebuttal that guy on TV about the guns.
Okay.
I'm going to be on there in about 2 minutes.
Here we go.
Couldn't wait to get me on there. Brought me into a studio, sat me down on a stool, told me to do it right there.
Right.
Daddy, in your own words?
Say my own words, little girl.
Okay.
Did they make you up, Daddy?
Yeah, they wouldn't have to do that. Archie is real.
Right. Put makeup on you so you're not shiny.
Puffed a little powder all over me.
Little
there.
Helena Rubinstein.
Shut up.
Really said that guns were okay?
I certainly did. You know something about that station master down there?
What?
That guy never fired off a gun in his life. He admitted that to me.
Okay.
So?
So, some crackpot who'll never fired off a gun in his life, he wants to take the fun away from all the other guys.
I have some stuff on that later, though.
Cars kill more people in this country than guns every year.
That's stupid. Drivers don't mean to kill people.
Oh, no? You ain't driven a cab yet, bud. Here we are. Good evening, everybody. This is Archie Bunker of 704 Houser Street.
Don't tell them where you live.
Question. What was the first thing that the communists done when they took over in Russia?
Took all the guns away.
Answer, gun control.
There's a lot of people in this country want to do the same thing to us here in a kind of conspiracy, see? You take your big international bankers,
Just zoom right in.
You look taller sitting down.
Another thing that's on everybody's mind today, and that's your stick-ups and your skyjackers.
Okay.
If that was up to me, I could end the skyjackers tomorrow.
You could?
All you gotta do is arm all your passengers.
Okay.
They just pass out the pistols at the beginning of the trip, and they pick them up again at the end.
That's not a good idea, though. That part, no.
That's incredible, Art.
What do you mean incredible? What I said made damn good sense to me.
Transition. Pretty cool.
It's him. You're him? The guy I just saw on television down the street?
Oh, geez, this guy. He's been on here as different characters before.
Man, I really dug what you said about those guns.
You know, I'm just trying to set the public straight on something, that's all.
Right.
Like when you said, guns are what brings law and order to our cities.
Okay.
Yeah, and would shoot 100 policemen a year.
Who's this? Like when he said, quote, guns are just like free speech. Beautiful.
Okay. They're gonna get robbed.
Why don't you have a beer with us?
Oh, no, actually, I gotta get to work now.
Uh-oh.
Put your money in the hat.
That's ironic.
Give me that wristwatch.
Oh, Archie.
Give it to him, eat it, he'll kill me.
Right.
Mr. Bunker, did you pay for those drinks?
No.
Bartender, the drinks are on me. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Wow. And if he had a gun, it wouldn't have happened.
Well, that proves my point. If he didn't have a gun, he wouldn't have robbed us.
Okay.
Well, if I'd have had a gun, he wouldn't have robbed us neither.
Okay.
I'd reach for my wallet, I'd pull out a pistol, and I'd give it to him.
Right.
and then you'd both be dead.
I don't care. At least I'd have more money than I got now.
And that is it. Let's talk about it. Alright guys, so that was All in the Family Season 3, Episode 1, and we went off with a bang. Well, at least talking about a boom, maybe. So today's episode was all about gun control. If you guys know me, you know that I am a big 2A guy, meaning that I think that you should have the right to carry basically anything that you want. I don't believe in safe spaces. There is no such thing as a safe space unless you make your space safe. So yes, these things are going on in the show. They're talking about shootings, which, you know, hey, we have shootings nowadays too. We've only had safe spaces in the last maybe 15, 20 years, or what you would call safe spaces. I don't think that they're really safe because, well, they're more of targets because bad guys do bad things to people who are not protecting themselves. I don't believe that a sticker is a barrier to the people who are bad with guns. The thing is, there's that old saying, a good guy with the gun beats a bad guy with the gun. That's pretty much true. There is a fallacy that he uses in the show where it's like guns don't kill people, people kill people. But again, that's pretty much true. Like, just like a knife doesn't kill people, this mouse doesn't kill people. It's not the tool used, but the intent of the person. Speaking of tools, you can kill someone with a hammer. It's happened. So yes, that's the thing is, I think that we have a big mental illness issue in this country. We have a lot of people who should be in mental institutions who are allowed to run free because they're apparently not at risk of doing anything. And so we get a bunch of these kind of things. A lot of these people get their firearms from someone who passed away, or they steal them, they get them on the black market.
Alright, monster, what are you packing?
This?
What the hell is that?
My pop spear gun. Well, what you got?
Is that the freaking musket?
Haji, how about you?
I couldn't get much, yo. Just this.
Most gun owners do not commit these acts. And the ones that did more recently have been on watch lists that the people who were supposed to be watching them failed at their job.
Law enforcement apparently didn't know about this kid in Uvalde. They sort of knew about the kid in Buffalo, but not to the extent they were really keeping track of him.
They weren't keeping a close enough eye on these people. And I do believe in due process. If they did something that would say, hey, maybe we should take these guys' guns away, then sure, as long as there's enough proof for it. They said something literally online or in person, threatening someone, saying, hey, I'm gonna shoot you. That is a threat. I would say, yes, that should be taken care of, because I don't think that everyone deserves to have guns, but I think that if you're a law-abiding citizen who has the mental capability of having a gun, then you should have that right. Now, if you also don't want to have a firearm, that is your right as well. But I'd rather you have that option than it just being totally taken away from you. Now, they're talking about magazine capacities in real world, not in the show, but this is nowadays I'm talking about. So they want to do magazine capacities and all this type of stuff. And I don't think that's going to help, because bad guys don't care about limitations. You're not allowed to turn a semi-automatic into a full automatic. Guess what? Bad guys don't care. The thing that they said, bad guy, good. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. I believe that, because they're going to do it anyways, and there might as well be someone or a multitude of people to stop the bad guys. It's up to us to be that change. So, and when you're reading the amendments, whether it's the First Amendment, Second Amendment, on and on, they put commas in place. Okay, it's either a comma or a period. Commas are continuations. So, kind of like when you're making a list, you can make a list by doing bullet points, which is, one thing, one thing, one thing, or you can put that thing, comma, that thing, comma. It means, hey, we're still talking about the same thing, we're just adding something else to it. In this, the Second Amendment, for those of you in America, this probably will make sense. For those of you outside of America, this will probably make sense, but you might have your own opinion on it. So, this is what the Constitution says. Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary to secure a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, not to keep bear arms, but the right of the people to keep and bear arms, comma, shall not be infringed, period. Okay. So what that is meaning is a well-regulated militia. Well, what's a militia? A militia back in the day when this was written was a group of people who had firearms. They were lower, not quite military, but they were volunteers. So if you had a firearm, you were a part of the militia. You were basically the person who, if, let's say back then, the British were coming. Okay, so the British were there. You being a militia person, you would grab your guns and go fight the British. That is what a militia is. They are the ready men, the people who, the Minutemen, if you will. The people who are ready and willing to go fight for their freedom. This is saying that it is still necessary. And comma, after a well-regulated militia, comma, meaning we're still talking about the same thing, but we're moving on to a different point, being necessary to the security of a free state. Okay, so the second point is, it is necessary to the security of a free state. Well, every state has the right to secure its own place, and so a militia, let's say we get invaded. Well, every state has the right to have a militia to protect its own state. So if, let's say, we get invaded by somebody, each state has the right to have their own militia to protect themselves. Of course, we have the overall army, but if that fails, you have the militia. Okay? And of course, after being necessary to the security of a free state, there is a comma. So now we are moving on into the right of the people to keep and bear arms, comma. So, of course, Second Amendment guarantees your right to bear arms, meaning to keep weapons. Now, I know what you're going to say. Back in the day, they were using gunpowder, and you had the 5-step process. Okay.
Grab the musket out of my hand, shove me to the ground, pour the correct amount of powder in here, take the ramrod, jam it down there, get a musket ball, put that in there, take the ramrod back out, jam that down there, half cock it, put a percussion cap in there, fully cock the thing, and somehow shoot me in the foot.
Is the Second Amendment just for muskets? You might be asking yourself if you're an idiot. To accept this premise, you would have to believe that the Founding Fathers were so stupid they had never, ever, ever witnessed nor anticipated any kind of technological advancement in weaponry whatsoever.
I get you. But they also had cannons. And you're like, well, they didn't have cannons. Actually, they did have cannons.
And the Second Amendment didn't just apply to guns, but full-on artillery. Here's a letter of marque and reprisal signed by President Madison for a privately owned ship carrying cannons that was authorized to attack enemy shipping. These were not muskets. And the Founding Fathers didn't give no craps.
They had some really weird weaponry back then as well that most people don't know about, like pepper guns.
Turns out by the time the Second Amendment was written, many assault weapons already existed. Take the Belton flintlocks, for instance, which was created during the Revolutionary War and can fire 20 or so rounds in the pull of one trigger in about 5 seconds. Or even the Puckle gun, an early Gatling gun that was developed over 60 years before the Revolutionary War. Heck, even the pepper box revolvers could hold over 20 rounds and were developed hundreds of years before the Constitution.
And stuff like that. I believe Louderworth Crowder covered most of this in his own gun rights videos. You were allowed to have a cannon. There was a document, and he talks about it. Go look it up. I might link it here if I can. Someone who was on a boat, and he was like, well, can I get put a cannon on my boat? And the guy was like, yeah, go for it. So the idea that there's a limitation on that is wrong. Nowadays, we do have laws that limit the ability of the firearm. You can't have a fully automatic weapon unless you have the licensing.
First person to say Class 3 license in the comments gets burned at the stake. Buy a pre-1986 transferable machine gun. There is a problem with buying a pre-1986 machine gun, being that there's only so many of them and you cannot make more. Becoming an SOT dealer. What makes this so difficult is that you actually have to be a licensed FFL holder before you can become an SOT.
You can't turn a semi-automatic into an automatic. Okay, those are laws, and I think we can all agree that at least within the confines of that being a law without the proper licensing, that's fair. Then we get into silly stuff like, what is a high-capacity magazine? Give me a definition. What is an assault weapon? Again, give me a definition. This is my assault drum stick. You know what I mean? You can call anything an assault something or other. This is my assault mouse, like I mentioned earlier. Define what an assault weapon is, and then we'll go from there. I know that people are saying, well, the AR-15 is an assault weapon. Okay. One, you didn't define what an assault weapon is. Every weapon is an assault weapon. And the AR and AR-15 does not mean assault rifle. It is Armalite. Armalite 15, it was named after the manufacturer that made that style of weapon. If you think that AR stands for assault rifle, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. So they did mention something about the UK. Well, the UK doesn't have a huge amount of gun violence because there's huge sanctions on transportation of firearms. It is basically what we here in America would call a felony. I don't know if they call it a felony in their country, but it's basically the same thing. It's a very high up punishment for importing firearms. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have like a shotgun or some kind of rifle for recreational hunting purposes, but there are huge regulations on that. And they didn't really say anything about stabbings because, well, what's the next thing that you're going to use? I've seen recently TV shows where a bunch of these gangster kids are running around with machetes.
Just tell me why you've got that.
Because if somebody backs out a knife to me...
But you're prepared to use it. It's not just for show.
It's not just for show. I'm prepared to use it if someone's willing to take my life. I'm willing to take theirs first.
Which I'd rather get shot than chopped up with a machete. If it's not one tool, it's another tool. Evil will find a way, and we, the good guys, should have our own way. That is my thought on it, and that is as far as I'm going to get with that. So Archie, being Archie, has a few things that I agree with, a few things that I don't agree with, of course. And then Michael the Meathead, he's the Meathead for a reason. I don't always agree with him on everything. Some things I do agree with him, like a logical fallacy. That's okay because, yeah, okay, there's some logical fallacies. Archie likes to use old sayings, and that's fair as well. The whole thing is up to you. If you're in the U.S., I know Canada doesn't really have any kind of Second Amendment. They don't even really have a First Amendment. It's different where you live, and I understand, hey, that's where you live, that's cool, your rules are your rules. Having that right is a necessity for us because of tyrannical governments. Archie Bunker did say, well, what was the first thing that the Nazis did when they started to take over Germany? Well, they made huge gun control laws. Okay, that's fair. So there is a bit of a reason for our having the Second Amendment because if, let's say, we personally were dealing with England. England was to us, tyrannical government trying to tell us what to do.
You were mine to subdue.
Okay, so when we separated, we made it where, hey, if they wanted to take our guns away, they couldn't do it. And if we, the American people, our government started to become tyrannical, we'd have that right to go and put the new people in place who are going to uphold the Constitution. The topic at hand was pretty interesting and funny because both sides had some good points, both sides had some bad points, but it was a fun time nonetheless. So with that being said, hopefully you guys had a happy new year. I am glad to see that you guys are still with me. If you guys liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. That's fair. Nobody sees it anyways. I'm still going for my goal of 500 subscribers, even though we have the community tab now. That's just my next goal. And then, of course, my overall goal of 1,000 subscribers to get monetized. So if you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and giving that subscribe button a little tap.
Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Give it a little tappy. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo.
I want to thank you guys for getting this far in the video. I want to thank all of my subscribers, and we will see you next time. Peace.